back to Autism at Home, brought to you by us at Early Autism Project Malaysia through our non-profit initiative, The Hope Project. My name is Jochebed Isaacs, and it's so nice to see you again. Welcome to our Building Tolerance series. In the previous lessons, we have talked about the general guidelines for building tolerance. Then we talked about building tolerance to haircutting. We talked about building tolerance to nail clipping. Then we went through the I'll Be Back program for separation anxiety before moving on to tolerating loud sounds. In this lesson, we will be talking about building tolerance to crowds as well as new places. Grocery stores, restaurants, kids' gyms, hospitals, schools, these are all some of the common places that are frequently visited by children. Among the many things these places have in common include the loud noise around and that they're crowded. The noise and crowd level in these places may be overwhelming to children and adults alike, especially those with autism. For individuals with autism, on top of having to deal with these issues, they may also struggle in going to new places due to unfamiliarity and not being able to know what they will need to face. We have worked with a lot of children who've had to learn to tolerate crowds as well as visiting new places. In general, there are no two children with the same exact broken down plan. They each had their own individualized plans following key ABA strategies, which is to break skills down, learning is paired with reinforcement, and sufficient practice is provided. The guidelines in this lesson is a simplified one, and further adaptations may need to be met to meet your child's needs. The prerequisites to learn this skill are basic cooperation, compliance with the first then instructions, understanding of the basic instructions, and safety in the car and in the community skills. For the materials, you will need a social story entitled Going Out. A video of the destination may also help communicate where your child is going. The first then board and rewards are important as well. And you may also need to have some self-occupying activities that your child can engage in independently while they wait for you, as well as some comforting items or belongings. A weekly calendar would be helpful to indicate and foreshadow the time before the visit. Lastly, a visual schedule is beneficial to communicate changes and transitions. Before starting the program, again, always check the baseline. Assess your child's current level of coping with going to crowded or new places. Which situation can they handle better than the other? Maybe how long do they normally last before showing any anxiety? Who would be the best ones to accompany them in these situations? Let's look at the breakdown that is simplified to cater to the need of your child to visit a new place that is usually crowded or more crowded than what your child is able to cope with. Step 1. Communicate expectations. Use lots of visuals and videos to communicate to your child the what, the when, the where, why, and how. Use social stories, online videos of the new place, and even a calendar to foreshadow the first visit. Give your child a few days if necessary to get used to the place through images and videos. Step 2. Probe. As you prepare to probe, ensure that your planning also involves identifying the peak and non-peak hours of the place. Begin at non-peak hours before gradually moving to more peak hours. Don't rush this phase, especially if your child gets very anxious about new places. You can also start with just driving by the place. Once you've reached the front of the new place, maybe park your car in front for a while, and if this is permitted, show the place to your child from the car. Consider going to the basement parking lot too, if necessary. Keep it as short as 2 to 3 minutes, then you can head back home. Reward your child before you begin driving back. Again, it is crucial to start with non-peak hours and then only move to peak hours. Then in step 3, which is practice, we will start getting out of the car and venturing into the less crowded area of that new place. If there is an outdoor area, before going into the building, allow your child to sit in that outdoor place first and maybe engage in one of their self-occupying activities with you. Once your child is done with the activities, you can pack up and leave. In subsequent practices, gradually move closer to the crowded areas. At this initial step, your child is not yet expected to get into the indoor areas of any place or where there are usually highly crowded areas. Step 4. The big day. Now this is when you really go into the new location or begin targeting those more crowded areas. Continue the practices of steps 2 and 3. Then bring your child to the crowded area or indoors of that new place. Allow your child to hold on to their favorite item if necessary. Refrain from stopping here and there, but just keep walking around. Pause or stop only when your child needs a break. If there are chairs, you can allow them to sit and perhaps drink some water or do an activity. Then foreshadow the end of that break time with a timer and continue on until the expected durations are met. The duration can gradually build up, but best to continue with just one constant place first until your child is more comfortable with it. Keep the rewards frequent and consistent throughout the practice, and one big reward for completing the visit. Then step 5 is the review, generalization or troubleshooting. Once your child is able to cope with one place, it is time to expand. Introduce different places but continue with the flow from steps 1 to 3 for each place. When choosing places to introduce, always begin with the ones that your child visits daily or even on an emergency basis, which may include schools and hospitals. Places for leisure can also be considered to be introduced at a later time. Here's how this routine can be done. First, read the Going Out social story and show the first then chart to your child. Show videos of the place to your child. Show the visual schedule of what is going to happen. Then head out to the car and drive. Continue with the targeted step. Reward your child with minor treats for minor successes and one big reward for completing a visit.
Pop quiz. Your child gets nervous when you take him out to a public place. He's always crying and would scream whenever you take him out to a place apart from the playground. Now you want to gear up to teach him to tolerate going to new places. What do? Prepare materials to communicate expectations. Prepare a game plan that includes the going out schedule. Plan an exciting reinforcement. Pack some comforting items for your child. The answer is A, B, C, and D. Expectations should be communicated clearly, which includes the use of a social story, first then board, and perhaps a visual schedule of the outing flow. Picking off-peak hours would help minimize the pressure of being out in a new or crowded environment. The exciting reinforcement can be the playground. And yes, having some comforting items would help calm him down if he feels nervous.
Now it's your turn. Pick a place to introduce to your child. Then you need to plan the off-peak hours to visit with your child, the major reinforcement needed, the visuals required to communicate to your child, the comforting items to be packed along. Begin teaching your child to tolerate going to new places and the crowd. Well, that's it. That's our lesson on helping your child build tolerance to crowds and new places. Just a gentle note that you may need to break down the crowd a bit further if necessary by gradually increasing the number of people that your child is exposed to at home at one time. This is in essence building tolerance to an increasing number of people. Essentially, the key tip is to break it down and gradual incremental desensitization. In the next and final lesson, we will be talking about building tolerance to a very special event, birthdays! So stay tuned. And if you haven't already, do check out our free online resource platform, Autism at Home, which has all the corresponding articles and downloadables for you. And don't forget to click subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on Instagram and Facebook to stay updated. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you soon.